You are entering E&C's Pod of Awesomeness.
All right, Birdman. I can tell you're not going to jump in. It's, once again, going to be up to me. So
well, I did it last week and it threw you off. I felt you were distracted the entire pod last week, so I figured I better just get back to normal here.
You didn't think I could get in the groove, you know? You thought I was out of the groove.
Groove is in the heart.
Did we ever talk about you meeting? I think we did.
I think we did.
What was their name again?
Delight.
Delight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, this week, my get, and I know you'll take umbrage, and it's my get. It's all my get. You mentioned Ray would be a good idea, and I went, well, yeah, since I have such a good rapport with Ray, I will reach out to him. You have no rapport. His son thinks you're creepy. So,
no, there was
his son hates you. His son can't stand you like the rest of the world.
That was, I think he really, when he was a younger child, he bought into my heel persona, and he didn't like me. And then, I was buddies with Ray, so, I'd come into catering, and he would be burying me, and I'd walk in, and then I'd be like, hey, buddy, what's up? And he'd just be kind of looking at me like, hi. And Ray told me later, he's like, yeah, he's so funny because he thinks you're like the character you play on TV, but years later he's grown up now and we're buds. Yeah,
and now he knows you were your character. Yeah.
What?
So either way, it's super excited. Anyone who listens to this podcast knows how much we think of Ray in terms of what he's done for the industry, what he's brought to the industry, how he's changed the industry. All of the above. And so, we could talk to Ray for hours on
we did talk to him for more than hours, did we not?
Well, yeah, but I'm talking like we could get multiple episodes out of this. But,
we could.
Busy guy. And,
busy.
And we're dads with kids that are going to wake up in the morning. So we're busy guys too. Just saying.
Yeah. So did you happen to catch this Elimination Chamber?
I caught up until Naya and Asuka. And but I still have not, again, because Beth goes on the road and now she's been rocket strapped, so she's doing announcing. She's here, there, she's everywhere. She's taking red-eye flights. She's hobnobbing in L.A. with Natty and doing all this stuff. I'm at home with the kids. I'm slugging it out. I'm making toast. I'm working hard on their meals.
Well, I know you are, because I called you and it went straight to your voicemail, and I could tell it was the one where it rang, but you're like, I can't take this, and you pushed it right to voicemail. So then I left your voicemail like, oh, hey, I can't handle all the kids myself.
Yeah, I declined you.
Yeah, you did.
I declined you. I saw it. I went, no, not happening. Decline. I'm putting Ruby in her car seat.
I feel like that happens to me more often than not.
But I called you back.
Yeah,
hey, Adam. So you're calling me back, huh? You couldn't answer before, huh? Because you're busy, huh? Yeah. Hey.
So what did you think about the women's Elimination Chamber match?
I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was great to see them get that opportunity. I forgot that they put padding around the sides of the thing now, which I wish they had thought of.
Got a lot of heat with me.
I
think I might have been in the last one where they didn't have the padding, because I remember my hands being swollen for like a week.
Man, that thing hurt so bad.
Yeah.
Like so bad. Like that what does Bliss call her finisher? The
Twisted Bliss of
Twisted Bliss?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm going to call it a Twisted Bliss of Doom now.
Yeah.
Beth just spoke up from the other room because she's an announcer now and told me it's the Twisted Bliss. So
that's what I said.
You did. No way that is happening off a pod to the grating before. I think she did it on that side, right? That would not happen because you would lose both legs.
Yeah. They also noticed they made more space above the pod so you could stand straight up.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas before,
because there was,
then you're hunched over, and they also put glass in, like plexiglass in those corners, so where it gives a good, nice, clear shot for the fans. Man, they really cleaned that chamber up, man.
They cleaned it up, Birdman. Yeah. They cleaned up the eyesights, because I remember in the very first one, I think it was RVD went up for a frog splash, and because of how cramped he was and everything, I think that's when he hit Hunter in the throat, right?
Yeah.
And
it's hard to time. I mean, it really is. And
it was weird. And I remember thinking how limiting that match could be because of the structure, and you'd still make it work, but you would be in such pain during, after, and you knew going in it was just going to suck in terms of that. But I will say that two of my very fond memories were from Elimination Chambers. You know, in the one where in Seattle where I went in as WWE champion in the first one, lost to Jeff like immediately, and then came back out, took Kofi out, and then ended up winning the World Heavyweight Championship, I think by pinning Rey at the very end. And then the other was when you were coming back from your pec injury, and I remember it was in Oakland, and I think, and you came with me the night before when we all got together to talk about the match. No, I didn't. If memory serves me correct. Did you not?
I don't think I did. No, I think I came in, because I came in late, and you drove back from Oakland, and we met for dinner in San Francisco.
Okay.
Because you were there early.
But I remember saying to Michael, who was the agent for the match, I was like, Michael, it's got to be me and Ray, and I think we should start it and end it, because that hadn't been done before. And if the opponent, you already know the opponent is Alberto, the other guys in this, people aren't going to buy that one of them is going to work Alberto at Mania, because there's no issue. There's no, it's a cold match.
Yeah, and
with Ray there is, with me there is, because of we had started our angles. So I said, if you start it with us and we end up going 45 minutes and it ends with us, and let us just do our thing that we can do together, I really think that's the way to go. And sure enough, you know, I just remember really, really enjoying Back to Ray, you know, as two baby faces in the finale of that match, and just putting together these false finishes, and just, you know, knowing where we'd have that audience. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I feel like we're in E&C Bizarro world here, because did you just, when we were talking about the women's elimination chamber, take an opportunity to put yourself over?
I think
trying to steal my heat.
You're really rubbing off on me like a bad, greasy
man. Now how am I supposed to put myself over?
Damn it.
It's bullshit.
Well, you came in and interrupted Del Rio from getting heat on me at the end.
Oh, yeah. I laid it on
and
him.
Then slapped your chest. Yeah.
Did I?
My pec's better. My pec's better now.
Yeah, it's better, brother. Look at this, brother. Look at this pectoral. Hanging on by skin, brother. Hey,
okay. You know what? I'm sorry. I did do that, so I suck. I enjoyed it. You know, here's one thing, and, you know, we will always nitpick a little bit. You know, if a heel's going over essentially clean, they don't need to do the really fancy move off the pod. No. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
because now you're becoming a baby face.
Yeah, I mean, I get it too, and it's.
I would have rather. I guess what I'm saying is, I would have rather seen Sasha do it off the pod with the knees thing, because then the baby face gets the really cool, you know, because that's our job as heels, is to bump and feed, and then you know, do something shitty to win.
Agreed. I also think if we're going to start neck picking, all right, if that's what we're going to do, I think I would have had Mickie James start that match, in my opinion.
Yeah.
With you know, the other two girls, they're not so experienced, and there's a couple times in there where it showed. I mean, they need to get that experience, obviously, but I think I would have had
way to get it.
I think I would have had Mickie in there, kind of leading the way there for that, and being the first one in until it was time for her to do her part and leave the match, and it would have been I'm doing wrong. The scope of the match, it was great. It was one of those ones like we talked about with the ladder matches and the Money in the Bank, or the Money in the Bank match, and the Women's Royal Rumble and all that stuff. It's a clean slate. You know, you're starting off with a template and you're building from there, so they really could do anything they wanted to, and it was going to be good. And you knew they were all going to be up and hyped for it and want to perform and kind of keep that trend going, which they did.
Yeah. And you got to remember too that the guy saying this is also the guy that speared Jeff Hardy off of a ladder at WrestleMania as a heel, and then won the match. So maybe don't listen to what I'm saying.
Fuck you. Should have been me saying that because I never did anything cool, even as a babyface.
Did you not?
No, man, I didn't do anything good.
Nothing cool?
I did that one Jimmy jump thing over the ropes where I bounced off the middle rope until I almost paralyzed myself, and then I didn't do it anymore.
Yourself.
No, I did it a few more times after that, but whatever.
Oh, hey, and I caught flack before from all the nerds in their mom's basement. I can't believe that you don't get the Asuka thing. I don't. So here is my point. In seeing her wrestle Nia, I finally saw her in the role that I think she's better served with as the underdog. I got it. I was like, all right, cool. This is good. I just don't see her as the crazy ass kicker. I don't really get that aspect. Just because you can doesn't mean you necessarily should in every match. You know what I mean? So in seeing her work from underneath against an opponent like that to me was then it made sense. Or
it's
her match
almost
with,
like I get what you're saying.
Sasha a few weeks ago. So I wanted to mention that because that was a great match too.
It's not so much as portraying an ass kicker, but portraying somebody that has ring intelligence, right? They're smart, they're savvy, and when you give them one little thing, they'll take advantage of it. Even if they're on the defensive, and it's a very valid point on your front there, Edge. I'm going to agree with you, and I don't like doing that.
Well, and Nia is the perfect opponent for that too. But I was like, okay, if she came at it more like that from now on, and then you'd also have more sympathy too, because it's hard as a babyface who just goes in and kicks ass all the time to garner a lot of sympathy. So anyway, what else, Bird? What else? I still haven't got to watch the guys one yet.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that next week when you watch it.
Yeah, okay.
There's no sense talking about it if you didn't see it.
Yeah, I guess not.
This pod's really about Ray anyway. Let's be honest.
That's true. That's true.
Man, I wish I thought of the 619 first.
Oh,
maybe I would have revolutionized the business. I mean,
you think it was just the 619 that revolutionized it?
No, but it was a pretty cool move.
I mean, it was awesome. I mean, think back to the first time you saw that thing.
Yeah.
That's one of those moments. There's kind of those touchstone moments that you think of as a fan where you see something that you go, whoa, okay, that's completely new and something entirely different. That's one of those moves, man.
Yeah.
I
think, he did so many things like that, and just doing, and we'll get into it more when he's on here, but little nuances to change things up and always come back, even if he's gone for a little bit with an injury or whatever, and he'd come back and he'd have a little something new to his arsenal or his look or whatever it was. But he was always really smart with that stuff, and we'll delve into that too, brother.
Yeah, whether it was the comic book themed stuff or whether whatever it was. I actually have a mask that Ray gave me that he wore once, and it was for a Halloween episode of Raw, and it was like a spider web themed mask, and I actually have it in the one place in the house where we put some wrestling stuff is in our gym, and so that has a place of prominence there. Because I love me some Lucha Libre, and I love just everything about the mask and what it represents, and we'll talk about that with Ray. And I've always just been intrigued by it, I guess.
Yeah. And also, if he never had his first big high-flying moment when he debuted in WWE. Let's say he had to go in there against one Paul Smackage, and he got rolled up. Might have been a different story for old Ray.
Just imagine, in his WWE debut after, he's climbing the cage. Imagine if it were to Paul, and Paul caught the crossbody, rolled through and into a small package.
And just held him there 6 straight minutes.
It might have been a different career from that point on.
Ooh.
Just
for Paul, that out there. Paul stays over at all costs, brother.
Well, just like you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like me. at all costs.
Yo, guys, real quick.
Whoa, Mega Matt! Look at
Whoa.
you jumping in.
I've woken
like a little grasshopper there.
I've awoken from my slumber. I need to. No, you know who Paul Smackage, his next opponent should be?
Oh,
Damian Lillard from the Portland Trailblazers.
oh my goodness.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
We had our first podcast beef this week, which is a stretch, but I'm going to claim it.
Let me tell you about Trailblazers, brother. Paul Smacker's a Trailblazer, brother.
Speaking of Trailblazers, Rey Mysterio, we're talking about Portland Trailblazers now. I knew nothing of this until Mega Matt brought it up, and you're still going to have to bring me up to speed because Damian
Lillard, he's a star player for the Blazers, and he was doing his Mount Rushmore for wrestlers, and then someone mentioned, hey, why don't you get Edge on there? And he was like, Edge, now you're just showing off that you know names of wrestlers. He's not going to be on my Mount Rushmore. And then Edge...
I kind of like him.
Yeah.
I kind of like this guy. I agree with him. I can't say anything bad about Matthew Lillard. What's his name?
That's the actor from Scream.
Oh, that's right. He was the guy in Scooby-Doo. Damian Lillard. Yeah.
That's Shaggy. From
Yeah.
But then I think Adam ended the argument pretty quickly, which wasn't really a back and forth, but he dropped a great Clyde Drexler tweet.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, you do one of those, it's kind of game, set, match. So,
well,
did you tweet something at him, Adam?
I did. Somebody said, "Look at this guy," and I went, "Who? I don't know who he is." Now, if you're talking Clyde Drexler, I mean that's Portland Trailblazers to me, but I truly have never heard of this kid. So he's evidently heard of me though, and I haven't heard of him. So game, set, match.
There you go.
Paul Smackage is training. He's next.
Oh, you better watch yourself out on that court, brother.
But nobody is touching, Clyde Drexler. I mean, let's face it. Is this kid even on the Trailblazers Mount Rushmore yet?
Let me tell you something. I don't even know how far San Antonio is from Grapevine, because I've never been on a Grapevine, brother. And I don't know how far it is from Dallas, and I don't know how far it is from Houston. But let me tell you something. If you're in the perimeter, brother, let me tell you something. You better look in the stands, because Paul Smackage is going to be a lurking.
Jesus. He's going to be a lurking. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on fire this week. But I do think that our interview with Ray will more than make up for
this. Well, we're also doing this late at night. You've been running around with kids by yourself all week, not able to handle it.
Single parent, basically.
Crying at night.
I just looked around the corner to see if I'm getting the evil eye, but she's not paying attention to me like everybody else in the world, except for Matthew Lillard. Oh, wait, I just got the look and a head shake. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Twitter beef. I don't know. I kind of like him.
Kind of like him.
I think he knows what he's talking about.
And you're saying, Mega Matt, that he's like a guy, right? He's a
good player.
Yeah, I put it in hockey terms. He's he's probably like John Tavares tweeting at you. It's pretty good.
That's decent.
No, yeah. I kid. My days of watching basketball kind of ended with the the Pistons. So there you go.
Well, there you have it.
There you have it. And the Supersonics. Let's be honest. Once the Supersonics were gone, I was like, man.
And the Utah Jazz.
Supersonics for me. I know you liked was it Stockton?
I like
John Stockton and Malone, right? Yeah.
The mailman.
Yeah. It's a good combo there.
Paul Smackage liked him too.
I could see Paul Smackage, again, you were just beating Paul into the ground here, but Paul looking like John Stockton, but possibly with a mustache. And wearing the same shorts as Stockton used to rock. You mean
on his way to the arena?
No. I mean, like the basketball shorts Stockton used to wear. They were really short.
Yeah, but he would wear those to the arena before he changed into his wrestling gear.
Oh, yeah.
And like to the airports and stuff.
And then he would throw on his really thick wool trunks.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Not wool, but what was that material? That weird thick. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go, Bird. Riveting stuff this week. Right? Yeah, I think it's time to get to Ray. Save this this fucking fiasco.
Train wreck.
Yeah. Next week, hopefully, we can do this in the day, so I can have my guyaki ready to just throw down my throat and look out. That's all I'm saying.
Who's that jumping out the sky? REY.
Booyaka, booyaka.
Here we go.
619. Hey. It's that time again. Bird, I hear your little beak flapping in the wind. Don't worry, that familiar crossroads of choosing between basketball and hockey. You can't choose. They're both on. Where are they both on? Relax. We, here at the E&C Pod of Awesomeness, have a solution.
That's right. We do have a solution, and it's called Buffalo Wild Wings. Rather than fill your living room with TVs, come to B-Dubs. That's short for Buffalo Wild Wings, if you didn't know. They've got hockey and basketball on, each playing on dozens of screens so that you don't have to choose. And to complete the trifecta, they can ensure you have access to all the sports foods you crave.
From their selection of America's favorite wings and any of their 21 signature sauces and seasonings to shareable favorites like cheddar cheese curds and fried pickles, you'll have everything you ever wanted. But wait! They also have a variety of beers to quench your thirst. All the basketball, all the hockey, all the food, all the cheese curds, all the beer you want.
Buffalo Wild Wings. B-Dubs. Wings. Beer.
Sports.
Please drink responsibly.
Booyaka?
Booyaka.
Ah, there he is. Hi, Ray.
What's up, guys? How you doing, Joe? Jay Bird?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
What's up, barrel ass?
How you doing? Doing great, man. How you guys been?
Good, buddy.
Good. We're just Jay's in Tampa. I'm in Asheville. Our producer Mega Matt is in New York, and you're in the 619, right?
Yes. Jay, what are you doing in Tampa? You living there?
Yeah, man. I own Tampa. This is my town. Yeah.
Oh wow! Dominic's up there right now.
I got this new move. I'm gonna call the 813.
Nice.
Yeah.
Better not be like the 619.
My version is I fall through the ropes,
which I've done many times. Jay. Dominic's actually in Tampa right now, training wrestling.
Is he?
And
Where?
working. Yeah, he's up. He's training with Jay Lethal right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, Jay's a good dude. I see him. Yeah. I would go down and see Dominic, but he doesn't like me.
No, don't say that. He loves both of you.
I mean, I don't like Jay, so I don't blame him.
Remember
you don't blame him.
Remember when he was younger, though? He used to come and you'd bring him to catering or whatever, and he just, remember, he said, there's something about that Christian, I just don't like him.
I get it, man.
Just a kid being a kid.
It just means he's got good spider sense. He can pick out the really obnoxious pricks.
Yeah, I don't know if the sayings in American as it is in Mexican, but in Mexican, there's one saying that drunk people and kids always say the truth. So there you go.
That's funny.
Oh man,
that was funny.
So I got a hold of you yesterday. You were able to hop on this quick. I know you're a busy dude. There's
I always have time for my fellow teammates, man.
Yeah, man.
My homies. Yes.
Wow. We got a lot of stuff to cover because I mean we all go pretty far back, but you go like way back. You're talking like you started doing this when you were 14, right?
14. I was actually going through my album the other day. Actually, right around the Christmas time, about 2 months ago, and I was flipping through the pages, and I saw on one of the pages that I had my envelope with my first payday, which I saved. It was something like 150 pesos back then, maybe the equivalent to $15, I want to say.
Wow.
And I put the date on there, and it said 1989.
Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
I was 14 years old at the time.
Absolutely nuts. And, Jay and I are up in Canada. I started training in 92. Jay in, 93?
94.
And by that point, you're already making waves and everything, and ECW and WCW. And I just remember seeing you and not really comprehending like what I was seeing. I'd seen high flyers before. I'd seen guys who could do some cool stuff, because there was Liger and everything at that point who kind of blew some people's minds. But then you came along, man, and I was like, that dude is Spider-Man. Like, without the CGI, he's doing that shit. How is that even possible? Like, how do you train to do that, man?
At the time, you don't even acknowledge the fact that you're preparing yourself for even the fact that wrestling at that point was going to be changed forever, and then it was going to keep evolving and evolving like it has now. So I just remember going to the gym at a very young age. I had to have been 7, 8 years old, hanging out with my uncle most of my time. I had my friends at school, but at the time I was living in Tijuana. And for me, that was golden because I was around wrestling pretty much 20 hours out of 24 from the whole day. So training Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and sometimes on Mondays. And I would spend my time at wrestling school from 7 p.m., sometimes all the way to 10:30, 11 p.m. at night. So I was very creative at a very young age, and I was learning a lot of things that a lot of kids my age at the time weren't even thinking about doing, So I just remember being very creative and playing with the ropes. I was very comfortable with the atmosphere that I was around in, being in that ring. And when you get used to something and comfortable, you just your mind just starts to flow, and you just start creating all these scenarios and moves. And at the time, I had my idols growing up, Super Astro, who I don't know if you guys have seen him.
Yep.
He's awesome, or was awesome in his time. A guy that was probably 5'3", but he was about a solid 200 pounds. And he was so graceful every time he jumped off the second rope, did moonsaults, did dives to the outside or to the inside. And that's kind of where the whole style began of the high flying. That was one of the first guys that I saw that I really wanted to emulate.
Well, the thing too, at that age when you're training, like when you're a kid, you have no fear, right? You just don't comprehend that you can get hurt, so you're really not afraid to try anything, right?
Yes, very true. As a matter of fact, based on what you just said, Christian, funny story. In order to become a wrestler in Mexico, you had to take a test, like taking a driver's test, to get your license. Yes. So, and that was back in the day, so I had to prepare myself to take my test at the age of 15, because the first show that I did when I was 14, I kind of got away with it. It was an official show at a big auditorium. So, they didn't give me any beef about me wrestling without a license. But when it came down to being part of the big shows, I had to take my license. I took the test. One phase of the test was grappling. Another was conditioning. And another one was like, doing a simulation of a match, with pretty much nobody around, just, the commissioners that at the time were, wrestlers, and they were the ones that approved if you passed or didn't pass. So anyway, I passed the test. Thank God. I moved forward. And now the commission, the Wrestling and Boxing Commission of Tijuana said, okay, everything is set. Now we just need your parents' signature because you're underage, to make sure that if anything was to happen during an event, the promoter would not be responsible and we would not be responsible. Your parents would pretty much, they're giving you the blessing that if something happens, it falls back on them. So you can only imagine trying to get my mother to sign a petition saying, go ahead, son, go ahead and do your thing. Wow. Again, it's been in our family because of my uncle. And my mom was a huge wrestling fan. She used to go see my uncle wrestle every week. But then after I started to break in the business, you know, it was harder for her to see her son wrestle.
Well,
but at the end of the day, they signed.
They did. Okay, I was going to say, because how does that conversation go? Like, hey, Ma, you know, I'm 15, and I think I could be pretty good at this. Will you just sign this? And if anything happens, it's pretty much all on you. Like,
I promise I'll get all my homework done.
Overall, they knew my commitment. They knew how much I loved being around my uncle. And they knew that I was taking my training seriously because, you know, I was at home for maybe 2 hours throughout the day. That was after school just to do my homework. And then once it was, wrestling school time, you know, I would leave the house, which was only a couple blocks away. I would walk to the gym, spend my whole time there, up until, say 11 o'clock at night. I would come home, shower, go to bed, and then wake up in the morning at 5:30 a.m. to cross the border to go to school every morning, Monday through Friday. So they knew my commitment. They knew that I was sticking to my guns. And even though I was young, you know, they went ahead and granted me the permission to be able to wrestle. And of course, my uncle put in a word there for me. You know, my uncle told her that he would be looking out for me. And at the time, my uncle didn't have any kids, so I was kind of like the adopted son.
Right. You just said that you were waking up and crossing the border to go to school. So you were living in Tijuana and you were crossing back to the U.S. to go to school?
Yes, that's very common out here in San Diego.
Uh-huh.
I was born and raised in San Diego and lived in San Diego till about the age of 8. After the age of 8, my parents decided to move to Tijuana to make it easier for my father because of his work. Mm-hmm. And so now, instead of my father going to Tijuana every day for the first 8 years that I was born in California, it was the other way around. Now my mother and I had to cross the border coming into San Diego so she can drop me off at school. She can go to work, and then sometimes she would wait for me after school. When she couldn't, I would just take either the trolley or the bus to the border, cross the border, and then she would pick me up on the Mexican side.
How long is that process to get across the border? Like every day? Is it just depending on, like, some days it's busier than others?
Back then, it wasn't as hectic as it is now. Obviously, all the controlling and the security level has been higher now. But back then, it was very easy, man. You know, I would get to the border in 15 minutes. I think the hardest part was either taking the bus or walking to the trolley station. Uh-huh. Once you jumped on the trolley, it would take you straight, maybe 4 stops by the time I jumped on and got to the border. And it was like a 5-minute walk to cross the border. And after that, like a 10-minute drive back home.
Huh. Man. Dude, I said, and I said Spider-Man, but you're Peter Parker. You are.
On my off days when I wrestle, yes.
You go to school, you're like Peter Parker, you get bit by the radioactive wrestling bug, and and then you train all night secretly and become Rey Mysterio. Like, Stan Lee would have loved you back in the 1960s.
That's crazy. I wish we would have met. Damn. Yeah, I tell you, man, that for real, that's like in California, that's very big for a lot of the Hispanic families. You know, a lot of the kids lived in Tijuana and crossed the border every morning and went to work or went to school. And then after that, if they had a job, they went to their job and continued on. But it was a process. I'll tell you what was the hardest part is crossing that border in the morning every day because traffic was just intense. You know, it could be sometimes 15 to 20 minute wait, sometimes a 3-4 hour wait just to cross that border in the morning. That's because everybody was either going to work or going to school on the American side.
And then, so you go through all of that throughout your day, and then you get home, do your homework, and go straight to wrestling class. That's some serious commitment, and that seems to be, like, we've had a lot of guests on, and one recurring theme seems to be, the love of wrestling from such a young age, and then the commitment to see it through. Otherwise, we all wouldn't be sitting here on a podcast talking about it, 20, 25, 30 years later. But that is like next level, like commitment.
Crazy.
Man.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is sometimes I pause everything that I'm doing, and I really take time to think and to take in like everything that's happened throughout my life, because I really wasn't a big fanatic of WWE until I started to get Saturday night main events. Yeah. And that happened at like an older age. My focus on wrestling was always lucha libre. That's what I grew up watching as a young kid. So right around the age of 14, is when I got my first job, and I was bussing tables at a pizza restaurant that my brother was a manager to. So I would get out of school and go to work from 4 to 6, and then I'd do the whole process of taking the trolley and going to the border. But on Saturdays, I would work more hours, and I would make sure that on Saturdays I take my break at 12 noon exactly, because that's the time that Saturday night main event would start in San Diego. And I would take my 30 to 45-minute break, and I would watch WWF back in the day, which, where I was going as I would have never thought in a million years that eventually I would have been part of that company.
Well, and I get that. I mean, because, well, first of all, you said Super Astro, Lucha Libre, and obviously your uncle, and I'm sure a lot of other, influences. But who on WWF did you see that, even though you had your mind toward the Lucha Libre, you saw in WWF and went, oh, okay, I dig what that guy's doing?
I was a big fan of Randy, Macho Man Savage.
I knew it. I was like, I bet you Randy and Steamboat.
It just, there was something from his promos to his gear, and I've always been very unique with my gear. Like I always try to take it to the next step and not use the same outfit twice, trying to change it up. And I actually picked that up from my uncle, because my uncle was very flamboyant with his gears. He would never wear the same mask twice. He would always change the colors, change the designs. So when I saw Macho Man the first time, I was like, damn, this is cool. I like this dude, but again, I actually had the chance to share the ring with him one time in WCW, and I was stoked to be able to be in the ring. Didn't wrestle, but we did an angle, and he came out and enjoyed that very much. It was a very cool moment for me.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, he was such a touchstone. I think for everybody, because of the intensity, the promos, like you said. That, like, I just remember the pink trunks with the white stars, the yellow boots, the yellow knee pads, like that era of Macho Man. I was just like, man, so good. But going back to like what you were talking about, you're watching Saturday's main event. You don't ever see yourself being there. And Jay and I have both repeatedly said on this podcast how much credit you deserve. I know you'll never take it, but how much credit you deserve for knocking down a lot of doors for Daniel Bryan's, for, Evan Bourne's, for Matt Sydal's, for guys like that who wouldn't have gotten that shot pre you.
I actually give a lot of credit to Conan for opening the doors for me along my way, and I've said it before, and I'll say it until the last day. I could have been so talented, but if I wouldn't have got introduced to the right people or to the right companies at the right time, none of this would have happened. It always, somebody always kind of has to, in a way, give you an invitation or open the doors for you so you can eventually be seen, and they can then, appreciate your talent. So Conan was one of those guys that was, not just my mentor, but Psychosis, Juventud, a lot of guys that were part of that WCW era where, lucha libre became very big in WCW. You know, but again, I say, you know, if I didn't have Conan, you know, recommending me or saying, hey, you guys got to bring this kid in, man. You're going to like him. Rey Mysterio, he's really good. Just wait till you see him. You know, that kind of just opened up a lot of doors for me. And I took advantage of the opportunity. He would do the recommendation. I would come in and do the work. And at the end of the day, it paid off.
Yeah, I remember '94 when I was breaking in. We were living down in the city of Toronto, and we were going to college during the week and training on the weekends. And we had this station in Canada called Tele-Latino.
Yeah.
And they would show AAA on the weekends, and we would watch it. And we remembered seeing all of you guys on there, and Psychosis and Rey Mysterio and Juventud and all these guys. And
what year was this? What year, Christian?
It was like 94.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. And we were like blown away. And I remember watching, and we were almost like, what are we watching here? Because it wasn't like, you know, it was so different than what we were training to do. But we watched it because we wanted to be exposed to all these different styles. And then next thing you know, we were in our gym with our trainer, you know, working the North American style. And then usually at the end of each class, he would just give us the ring to let us work on stuff we wanted to work on. And here we are, trying to do the moves we're seeing you guys do and incorporate them into matches and stuff like that to see how they would work with the style that we were being taught. And so it was, you were very much an influence, and that was at that point. But it's funny that years later, or not even years later, just a couple years later, you know, you get on ECW and then to WCW, and then you start exposing like the real masses to it, you know? Right.
Wow, that's awesome. It was actually in '95 that we got our first opportunity in ECW. And again, at that time, Eddie, Jericho, and Benoit had just been signed over to WCW, and Paul Lee had already brought Conan in a couple of times, and he spoke to Conan. He goes, man, I need a couple guys because these guys are leaving, and I need some guys to come in. Do you have anybody in mind? And that's when Conan recommended Psychosis and me. We went in there. Man, we had such a blast. We obviously had to, in our state of mind, prepare ourselves for that ECW crowd. So we saw a lot of tapes. You know, at the time, Psychosis and I were living together in Mexico. So I remember just sitting down and watching, thinking, oh, yeah, man, we can do this, and we can do this off the balcony, and we can do this off the chair. And then once we're there, man, it just, we didn't think that we were going to get the ovation that we got and the love from the locker room, from Paulie, and it was just such an incredible atmosphere, man, that was a very important phase in my career that definitely took me to the next level. And not just me, Psychosis as well, because I always say that I would never have been able to do the things that I do without having my base, without having the guy that's taking all my offense moves.
Well, and I remember, you know, going back to Jay saying we were watching, you know, War of the Worlds and watching Tele-Latino, and we had a buddy that we trained with named Rob Echeverria, and he wrestled Del Fuego, and he would incorporate a lot of that into his style. And we knew that we weren't going to be able to do it, but we could catch for it and base for it. So we wanted to have that skill set going forward. And then it really came in handy over the years, you know, because eventually we start working and everything like that. But you see the explosion from ECW. And like you said, you never know how that crowd's going to react. But because you guys were just doing stuff that's never been seen before, you can't help but cheer it. And I remember thinking, oh, now this is gonna, you know, this is gonna be everywhere. Like nobody's gonna be able to do it to this level, but this is gonna be everywhere. So we got to be prepared. And I remember feeling like, okay, we got at least got a base, because I felt like we were in before it exploded watching you guys.
And it's crazy because at the time, you know, you don't stop and think, we're here to fucking change the game. You know, we're just doing what we're so accustomed to doing, you know, not realizing that the American audience, you know, weren't used to watching our style of wrestling. So we just came in there and we did our thing. And next thing you know, realizing that slowly, at least in the stateside, wrestling was evolving. It was becoming more aerial, And that was actually a cool feeling to know that we were some of the pioneers that brought that style to the table.
Well, yeah, I mean, you think about it, and AJ's been around forever, but AJ's directly influenced by you. And I don't think an AJ gets to be world champion again without you, doing the backflip into a DDT with Eddie. Okay, so you fast forward a little bit, and AJ's doing it into like a slop drop type deal. That all happens, from your matches in ECW, but then in WCW, and you start working Dean and Eddie and all of these guys, and now you have this worldwide audience. At what point do you start to realize, oh, we might be influencing like a generation of kids that will then get in the industry? Or do you realize that?
It actually never happened until you start getting the feedback. And this was probably not too many years ago, maybe within the last 5 years, I want to say. You start getting comments here and there at signings or at events where, you get local wrestlers walk up to you and tell you that they've been training and they're wrestling. If I have any advice, because they were inspired by watching me wrestle in Psychosis and our generation. So that's when it kind of, it hits you not as strong as later down the road when I do run into an AJ, when I do run into a Will Ospreay, when I do run into Amazing Red, Ricochet, who just signed with WWE.
Yeah.
After being able to wrestle with these guys and them expressing how much of an influence I was to their career, and how without me being in the position that I was throughout the years, that they are now having the opportunity to be able to perform at the level that they've always wanted to. That's when it really hits you and you go, wow. I mean, it was a game changer. It was a door opener for all the smaller weight, all the guys that maybe at one point that, man, I could never be a part of this. And then seeing me, oh man, if he can do it, I can do it. So that's when it really hits, and it makes you feel good, man. There's no better feeling than to know that you've given others the opportunity to be able to perform, at the highest level possible.
Yeah. And going back even further, I mean, you could even look at, X-Pac, 1, 2, 3 Kid, kind of that first kind of win against Razor, and then even with Bret Hart becoming world champion, who is not your typical size guy at the time, almost, changing the mindset of, and then, you guys come along and even taking it another step further than that, where, it's more accepted and believed that every person really does have a chance in any fight and in a match, and for fans to get invested into it. I mean, it's unbelievable that how you accomplish that, and mainly, and not only that, like accomplishing it with a mask. And we've talked about it on here before, how you get emotions.
We talk about you a lot on here.
Yeah, how you got your emotions across, and how you got that connection with the fans, and it's very hard to do with a mask on. But somehow you got that, you invoked that from the crowd, and they had that connection with you.
I think Edge can tell you it's all the
I'll get into that after.
Yeah. I guess, and I think that happens subconsciously, but and I do remember like getting advice from like the Deans and the Arn Andersons, Ricky Steamboat, by saying, mijo, you have to, because you're wearing the mask, you have to do a lot of emotion with your hands and let the people know, what you're feeling, where it hurts, and I think all those points, stick to you and you apply them to your work, which makes you better and better every time. I think it's impossible to say that one is perfect in their craft. There's always something new that you're learning but I did have the privilege and the blessing to be able to be around some of the greatest wrestlers that have been around, and that really helped me out to be able to wrestle with the Deans, with the Eddies, with Benoit's, being around Ricky Steamboat, who had one of the best matches of all time against Randy Savage. Getting all those pointers from all of these people helped me grow as a wrestler and just made me perfect my craft, each day more and more.
Well, I mean, I know you work with Eddie a lot too, and you brought his name up, and I've never seen a guy before or since that, he was never really a guy that let's put a bunch of spots together. It didn't seem like to me he was a guy that just had to go out there and feel the crowd, and there was nobody better than him at feeling a crowd and being able to just take the match in any direction what the crowd was giving him, and then just apply what he was gifted at, and for you to be in there, that almost you kind of learn that from him, just kind of by osmosis in a sense, right?
Right. What were you going to say, Edge?
Well, I always think of Eddie. I think he's like a jazz musician, where they will just go off in this different tangent, and you go, okay, I'll go along this and see where he's going. Like there's this bassist, Jaco Pastorius, and that's kind of what Eddie reminded me of in the ring, because he would take it in so many different directions, and just by feeling the crowd,
and was never afraid to change, last minute.
No, yes, or change within a spot, and it just, you can be like, well, okay, here we go. We're going this way now. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jay, but it just, as we were talking about Eddie, the jazz musician thing just popped into my brain. But I want to make a point here too, Ray, and I've said this, and Jay and I have, as I've said, we've talked about you a lot on this podcast. You have always been smart in knowing how to just tweak your style to be able to have it work in every new territory. Okay, so you come into WCW, you're doing the cruiserweight stuff, but eventually you start segueing a little bit out of that. You get to WWF, and I remember, because I was there for the night you debuted, and that, jumping off that cage.
Yes,
and I think I caught you.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. You and Tess. Yes.
And I remember thinking, oh, he's muddied it up a little bit. Like he made it a little uglier. I've always used that term. Like, you'd throw in those forearms now and those kicks and just make it look like, the term we always used was sandpaper. Just you roughed it up now. And you knew that you had to make those tweaks in order for it to work in this place where there was, all of these massive stars, not just in physicality, but in terms of, their persona. And you came in and you did it. And I remember watching your matches with Kurt and thinking, oh man, again, he's taken it another different place. And now, like I said, Daniel Bryan's and the guys like this now are able and have been able to get those opportunities that I honestly, I can say this without a shadow of a doubt. I don't think they get those opportunities unless there's Rey Mysterio. There's nothing much you can say to that, I know, except to go, oh man, I can't believe you just said that. But I truly believe that. And I know it's good, but more than any other performer in this industry, I think you have changed the game. I can honestly say that more than anybody I can think of. There's not one single wrestler, you got your Hulk Hogan's and those guys that took it like mainstream and all of those things. But I mean the style and the style of booking and the style of how, matches could be perceived. I think you more than anybody else changed that.
Wow. Right now, I stop and think, if I wouldn't have done it, would there have been somebody else that would have came in and changed that? We'll never know. I was the blessed one to be able to go in there and get an opportunity and just love to do what I do, not thinking, oh, I'm going to come in here and make a big difference. And I think that's where the passion of this business takes over. And, you just end up doing things that you never would imagine you would be able to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, you know, with Adam also saying, you know, changing up just little things that you did. And I even remember like on your entrances when, you know, you would find a kid and you would just kind of grab him, you know, and give him a little forehead to forehead, just that moment with fans. And, you know, take your mask off, give them a mask, stuff like that. Like, how did you, was that just something that you just did one night, or is it something that you like, how did that come about?
Besides watching or being a big fan of Randy Savage, one of my other all-time favorites was Bret Hart. Mm-hmm. And I recall, you know, watching him come up to a young kid in the front row, take off his shades, and put it on one of the kids. You know, so that stuck with me. And subconsciously, when I was coming out and throwing out my T-shirts, I said, well, my uncle used to come out with at one point, I wasn't coming out with like a replica mask. I was coming out with like a type hoodie that was, what do you call those guys that have the axe that are back from medieval times? That would, what do you call
like
it?
Like the Templar Knights, the Knights Templar?
Yeah, it was a hood like that. It was all covered up and it would cover my whole head. So my uncle used to come out with those and he would throw them out to the fans. So watching Bret and watching my uncle, I kind of put those ideas together and I started creating replica masks. And that's when it all came about, of walking up to the kids and putting on a mask, having them keep something special or have a moment that they can take with them for the rest of their lives, you know. And I've ran into so many parents that have told me, man, you gave my son the mask back in Louisiana and you signed it for him. It's hard for me to remember all these things, but that within itself, after having kids of my own, I know what it feels like. So that's, again, another cool moment, you know, that I can take with me.
Well, and I remember, you know, seeing Bret do that and even now seeing, you know, Bailey hugging fans and everything and creating kind of that special moment. But that's a special moment not only for that kid in particular, but every kid at home and every mom and dad watch that and go, man, that's special. Every parent can understand what that means to a kid, and any kid who grew up loving and watching, you know, wrestling is gonna hope that's them. So but you know what too, and I can say this because I teamed with you and I saw it many nights on house shows and at TVs. It was genuine, and that to me was always the most important part. And I know that kid could feel that too.
Yeah, that connection. I've always had a really good connection with my fans. I love attending them. I love the attention. I love you know, the fact that they can acknowledge or pay respect to what I've done, or you know, being fans for so many years. And what's really cool now is to see second generations, you know, fathers that grew up watching me that now have kids, and now they have their kids watching, and they tell their kids, man, you got to watch Rey Mysterio. Yeah. Eventually I run into them and they tell me these stories and I'm like, wow, this was really cool. It's transcending, you know, it's passing on to another generation, which, you know, for a lot of us, that's sometimes very hard to accomplish. So to be able to be part of that right now is just unbelievable. And again, that connection, that solid connection, based off of what you were saying, Edge, the genuine feeling of handing the mask over to a kid, that's always been, I want to say that's a gift, man. That's a gift that I have, that I've been very accessible to either get a picture with, to sign an autograph, to record a video, you name it. Whatever a fan wants, I could never say no. And that's just, it's within who I am, you know, and that's helped me a lot with having loyal fans.
I think too, as a fan, they feel like you're one of them. You know what I mean? It's hard to feel like Braun Strowman is one of them. And that's not a knock on him. He's just what, 6'9", 350. There's not too many people like that in the world. Now, there's no one in the world that can do the things you do in the ring, but from a stature standpoint, I feel like the audience goes, okay, man, he's one of us. Like, every kid dreams.
That trust, right?
Yeah. I really.
Zone. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so you get to WWE now. How do you feel when you get there and you're walking in those doors and, before they tell you, hey, you're jumping off a cage? Like, what are you thinking?
Man, my mind is going crazy because prior to this, during my last year with WCW, I was getting a lot of feedback that it was almost impossible to be picked up by WWE because of my size, because there's never been talent that had the same size and weight class that I was in. So it was just impossible. So that kind of was a big letdown, and then the buyout comes from WWE where they buy out WCW, and I don't get signed right away. And I actually think that that's part of the whole not wanting to sign me. And at the time, I remember JR telling me, since you're still under contract with WCW, let it run out. After it runs out, we'll go ahead and sit down and we can negotiate. And I thought that was just a nice way of saying, hey, we're not going to need you, yeah. And to be honest, I mean, I was getting paid really good from WCW within my last year. So I pretty much let that contract run out. And when that time came, just like JR said, he would contact me. He did. And when he did, and when we sat down and negotiated and everything was already in place, I was like, wow, I can't believe this is really happening. The excitement that was running around the house was just incredible. My wife was very excited for me. She knew that was eventually the place that I wanted to end up in.
Yeah, and they're like, now that you're then they drop it on you. Now that you're signed on the dotted line, we're just going to spring you up through the floor. Do you have a problem with that?
That was awesome.
Yeah, I love that entrance.
What an entrance, man. And I want to say Dean Malenko was the person that either brought that idea to the table or somehow it came about. But I know Dean had something to do with it, which I loved. I thought that just made the Rey Mysterio character even more interesting, man. Just coming out flying from the bottom, you know, it was really incredible. But overall, there was a lot of emotion, a lot of excitement, a lot of fear to make sure that my first appearance was obviously one to Impact. And, at the end of the day, still to this day, every time I do something new, I get that butterfly sensation in my stomach where I get the jitters and I'm nervous. And I think that's always just been a part of me still feeling the passion to be able to do what I love to do, what I've been doing for 28 years, wrestle. I've always said that whenever I get that feel, whenever I don't feel that anymore, I think my passion has gone out the window. So that's that night in WWE, the debut. At the end of the night, everything turned out the way it should have turned out. And you're right. I mean, I remember climbing that cage really fast. I go back and watch that now. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, how did I get up there so fast? And then stand on top of it.
And I don't know if you realize this or not, Ray, but I pushed Lance out of the way and be like, I better catch him if we're going to get him over.
Well, so who caught me?
Well, it was mostly me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew Edge wasn't there.
I was down selling because they were all beating me up.
Yeah. I think it was
you
me.
came to save me.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
You can't trust Lance.
I remember Tessie in there too, right?
Yeah, it was Jericho and I just had a cage match, and then the Un-Americans, those dirty bastards. It was Jay, Lance, and Andrew Test all came in, jumped on me, and then you came flying. I think Cena came down first. Then they stopped him, and then you came flying down, and then the three young lions. Me and Cena. Oh. How crazy does that sound? We were the young lions. Bumped them out. And that reminds me, Mega Matter producer, before you hopped on the line, reminded me of this pre-tape that has made the rounds, and it's an outtake. You, me, and Cena in the dressing room.
I know where you're going with this.
Jay's never seen it. I seriously, I want him to watch it while I explain this. So we're in the back. It's me and Cena talking, and you're doing chins in one of the locker stalls, and it busts.
On the pole, right? Where the hangers are. So, I remember that. And it just broke down.
And you just folded, like you gave up halfway down, like, oh man, I'm here. This sucks. And Cena looks at you, and he's wearing his little bike shorts, and he's like, oh my gosh.
All right, hold on.
I just laugh and walk away.
I'm watching it, guys. Hold on.
That wasn't live, was it?
No. But somehow it got out.
Oh my God! Imagine, because I think we were doing SmackDown at the time. Imagine that would have been live.
You're going pretty crazy there with the reps, though, Ray.
I know.
Oh yes, I'm on. I'm focused.
Oh, that was good stuff, man. Well,
that thing just broke down on me.
Oh yeah, it was the you. No way, you were reefing on that thing pretty good. So, and it's funny because over the years, especially on SmackDown, it almost seemed like when they didn't have anything for you and I, they just put us together. Are you still?
Yeah, I'm just watching it again. Sorry,
there's a late reaction there.
I just watched it again.
But
you said they would put us together, yeah.
Yeah, they would always just okay. Well, we got nothing for Edge and Ray, so let's put them together, kind of thing. And I know that's how our first teaming came together. And I remember thinking, man, we gotta sure we look like polar opposites and all of that thing, but we can be a great team because we can come up with some. Because we're both creatively. Jay is too, but he just never got the chance to team with you. But I knew with our brains together that we could come up with some really messed up stuff that nobody had seen, especially if you give us an Angle and a Benoit to be able to, to bounce all this stuff off of. And
we couldn't have had two more committed guys to wrestle against, huh?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think back to, it was the finals of the tag team tournament, the SmackDown tag team tournament. And I've had a lot of people tell me that they think it's the best tag team match they've ever seen. It's always so subjective. But I remember, when we were putting it together, I was like, this is a good little match. We got something here, But I don't know if you remember this, but that was in Little Rock, Arkansas. And when the pyro would go off in that building, they had these massive fans that would go off to try and get the pyro smoke out. That's all I could hear during the match. I couldn't really hear the audience. I was just like, Jesus, I think we got a good match going here, but I can't tell because I can't hear anything. Do you remember that?
I don't. I guess I was probably so hooked on what we were doing and feeling the vibe off the match that I did you at one point mention it to me, or you don't recall?
I think I did. I was goddamn fans.
Well, more likely Ray was selling his ass off, and you were just half asleep on the apron,
staring at the ceiling, going, "Man, what's going on up there?"
It wasn't me yelling off the cell, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so now we can explain this.
That's what it was.
So So now, when Ray and I teamed, this is when I first started noticing it. Ray has two noises in the ring. One is when he's on the offense, and it's a very intense, like, and he's coming at you with those forearms. Like you better get ready because you're going to be chewing some forearm meat. And then there's the cell noise, and it's usually on a good back forearm or something, and it's and the arms go back, and it's and I know that sound. I will still hear that sound in my sleep sometimes.
Oh, that's awesome. Still to this day, I don't know where I picked that from, but still, sometimes I catch myself going, man, I think I'm selling a little bit too loud, man. I'm hearing myself sell.
I would do it on the apron some nights. I'd be like,
yes. Oh, God. Good old times, man.
Really good, fun times. And we teamed a lot because there was that era. Then there was the era, with Del Rio, and just a lot of recurring history, throughout the years. And, one thing I was thinking about when I knew you were going to be coming on, you and Jay never got to really dig in the way you guys could have.
No.
Whether it was you and Christian.
Oh, no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, we had a few. Did. Yeah, we had a few. We teamed a couple times on some live event loops. We worked each other on some live events and had a few, maybe little TV matches here, but we never had an extended thing. I think there was a time where there might have been a couple things on the table, but they ended up going different directions. I don't know, but yeah, it would have been obviously pretty awesome for me if it did happen. So
yeah, whether teaming or against each other, because I know we would have hit it off.
Yeah.
Even just because you and Christian were so accustomed to wrestling as tag team, I would have loved to have done a three-way too, man. That would have been incredible.
Yeah,
because you can also get very creative with three guys in there, especially when you know each other's style. It's so fun. That's when wrestling turns into being really fun.
I've said you've adapted your style to every company, but you also adapt your style to work with every opponent. Because let's go through a list of who you worked just from that SmackDown. You were working Kurt, Chris, Eddie, Chavo, Brock. You end up doing Royal Rumble, world title matches with Taker. You and I had our series. I mean, Batista. Seriously, Kane, think of that whole roll call of opponents, all completely different, but you managed to have a Rey Mysterio type match with all of these people. And it's always amazed me how you can make your style, which seems unadaptable because how the hell do you even do it? But you were somehow able to do it with The Undertaker.
That right there was almost like a dream match in a sense for me, to be able to just be in the ring and share a moment with Taker. Such an incredible human being, inside and outside the ring. The utmost respect for him. But being in there and sharing the ring with them, I don't know if it happened to you or to any of you, being able to wrestle him for the first time, especially going out first and then him coming after. I just remember being in that little corner tucked in and enjoying his entrance like I was in the front row.
I remember that too. Like the first time I ever wrestled him, I was like, you almost have to pinch yourself because you think you're like a fan watching him make his entrance.
Yes.
Like, I gotta wrestle this guy in like less than a minute.
Thank you. I thought I was hoping I wasn't the only one.
Yeah.
Yes, it happened. And once those lights come on and it's time to go, it's like, damn, this is really happening. And I remember going through a match with him, and at one point I hit him with a springboard senton, and I happened to knock him off his feet, but I think my ass landed on the top of his forehead and nose. Next thing I know, when I bounced off and turned around to get ready for the next move, I saw blood. I was like, oh my God. It scared me. I was like, damn, I think I just broke his nose. And it really threw me off. I was actually really nervous. And in a way, felt like I disrespected, or hurt him. And obviously not my intention. But coming back, after the match and being able to talk, everything was cool, man. And those are the kind of moments that you go back in the segment of, man, great match, because I enjoyed working with him to the fullest. Took most of my offense move, which for a big guy like him, I would have thought it would be hard. But, man, he made me look like $1 million. So my hats go off, and I have to be able to share the ring with Taker. I think it happened twice.
And think about that, and again, I'm going to repeat myself, like that doesn't happen before you. There's not another guy that Undertaker is going to get in there with in a world title match, sell his ass off. It's just not going to happen. So the respect is obviously both ways, but it would be so much fun for me, because you always maintain the fan aspect of watching matches and everything. But I would always, sit down and go, okay, what's Ray got in the store? Okay, he's working Big Show tonight. Let's see what's going to happen here. Or Kane, or Dave, and Dave was an agile big man, so you could do a lot of stuff with him. But just, I remember when I knew I would get a chance to work you and go, okay, I got Ray. This is an empty canvas, carte blanche, because I know anything that I can come up with, you can do, and anything that you come up with, hopefully I know how to spot for, and if not, you'll show me once, and we got it. It was always just fun to sit down and watch you work people and somehow incorporate what it is you do, which nobody else does.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Edjo. That I think comes in natural for me, at least, to be able to adapt and work the different styles, and it also comes with the learning process of being able to work always different opponents, and I think that really helped me out a lot. Because the more I worked with different styles, different sizes, the more I would feel more comfortable within that match. With Dean, completely different. With Benoit, completely different from with Dean. Eddie, a whole different story. Kurt was probably one of the opponents that I couldn't believe how much he wanted to go. And at times I would think, man, am I doing too much? But Kurt was one of those guys that he was willing to take my offense to a whole different level, which was really cool because I didn't expect that from Kurt. And with Kurt, I was doing stuff that I was doing in my early years that I never did with Eddie or with Dean. So, it was actually a good vibe between us two. During my last WCW run, after my mask was taken off, that's when I had my first experience with the bigger talent. I had a chance to work with Kevin, and with Kevin, it was very basic, very simple. And I picked a lot of Scott Hall's brain as well within that angle. And Scott helped me out a lot on the selling process and not having to do as much with the bigger guys. So I think along the road, just receiving advice from all this talent and being able to be in the ring with them and experience it on my own, helped me prepare myself eventually to be able to face the big shows the Khalis, the Kanes, the Undertakers, and the more I worked with them, the more comfortable I felt and putting a match together without, being intimidated on doing certain things or moves.
You mentioned real briefly there about in WCW them taking your mask off. How did you feel about it then? How do you feel about it now?
Back then, I wasn't ready for it. Mm-hmm. I fought for it like you have no idea. I saw Eric Bischoff 2 nights before the pay-per-view in Vegas. Had a couple calls with them a week before that. And, just they were so set in stone and committed to it that that's where they were going to go. So I said, okay, if this is going to happen, let me just make the best out of it, And of course, they already had a direction where they wanted to go after the mask was being taken off, and that's another phase in my career that I stop and think and ask myself, if the mask wouldn't have came off, would I have had that opportunity to have work with the bigger guys? And at one point, I remember WCW created the name of Rey Mysterio, the Giant Killer. I don't know if, again, it all ties in with how my career was developed and the opportunities that I've gotten throughout the years, throughout 28 years, and how they've all come in like at the right time. Even though I've fought and not wanted to be in certain positions, they happen for a reason. So I really think that if that mask wouldn't have came off, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to work with Kevin Nash, and for the fans to see another side of Rey Mysterio that they hadn't seen before. And that obviously,
that even if you had, like I said, you kind of even, looking at it now, that you can look back at it the way that you do with kind of like with a clear vision. You can kind of take, there was a negative vibe there with you losing the mask, but turning it into a positive, like you just said. And also you said you got a ton of advice from Scott Hall about selling for bigger guys, which ultimately helped you with WWE. So maybe in a big picture too, it even helps you in a sense that respect, right?
Yes, without a doubt. Yeah. And like you said, now I can see it. Yep. I can see it and look at it that way. Back then, you're young, you're stubborn, you don't understand reason. You want things to go just your way, and you're not comfortable with certain situations. And obviously, when you're not comfortable, sometimes you don't even know if you're really not comfortable, and it might be just the best solution for you at the time. So again, with that happening and the mask being taken off, I had the opportunity to work with the bigger guys, and I was learning a whole different style, and that's what really helped me cross over to WWE and to be able to work again with all the bigger talent, and which I at the end of the day I was really happy to have gone that route because it helped me out in the long run.
Well, and as we talked about, not just the big guys too, and we haven't even mentioned your series with Jericho and how good that stuff was when he was doing kind of the suit and the big word heel guy, and basing kind of the whole premise of the angle off of the mask and making the mask the important thing that it is in the Lucha Libre culture.
Yeah, and the good thing about doing it with Jericho is that he understood the psychology that came from the mask and the respect and the tradition, the heritage. So being the fact that he had wrestled in Mexico for many years, he was smart enough to apply it to the American side, and now give the fans something that officially has been seen in Mexico, but not in the U.S. So it was something unique and something new, just being recreated all over again, which I thought was really, really cool.
Well, and just so people know, in case they haven't been to Mexico, or especially haven't been to Mexico with Rey Mysterio, because I've gone out with you in Mexico. I've worked you in Mexico. I've, hung out with you in Mexico. I mean, you're a huge star in the States and worldwide, but Mexico's you're revered there, dude. Like it's a whole different ball game there. Like, people don't understand.
Didn't we get tacos for free one night? No, right? No, that's if you think about it, that I don't know if it happens much here in the States, but when other countries have talent that become very big in whatever sport or a musician, if they're in movies, you name it. But when they see one of their own succeed and make it to a level that is potentially very hard to get, they admire that very much. And, being that that's my heritage, that's where I grew up, that's where I trained, that's where I began, when they see me and we go back again to that comfort zone within the fans and being around me and me being able to sign and take pictures with them, because I'm so easy to get along with. When I run into my own people, oh my God, it's madness. It's just the love and the excitement and the energy just pours out based on what I've done, and they just want to say how happy they are for what I've accomplished throughout my career. And that's nothing but a great feeling and a blessing.
Well, yeah, and they're passionate down there. I've had great experiences with you in getting free food and things like that. I've also had a cup of piss thrown in my face after we worked in Guadalajara. So,
which is very common, especially at bull rings.
Do you remember?
Yes.
We had put in like an hour. We did it was a 58-minute match, and I just remember we were drenched. We're like, and all I heard. I was champ at that point, so we did a deal, where, I got the pin, and I just heard silence, and I was like, uh-oh. It's really
not good.
Silent. And I rolled out, and I just remember, I hit the mat and slid. I was that wet with sweat. And then I got up, and I went, oh, that's not Mountain Dew.
Oh, no, they don't have Mountain Dew in Mexico.
Yeah, well, it took me a few seconds to register that. So, yeah. And then I think I went back in and took the 619. So your knees were covered in piss.
Maybe he was just being friendly and looked like you could have your electrolytes replenished.
Yeah. Yes, I think
it was a long match. I needed it.
Yeah. Do you remember? Did that happen in the ring, or because
no? It happened
Mexico,
on the. I had bumped out of the ring after the match, and I was down there selling. I remember I came up and I went, man, it dawned on me. But then we still wanted to leave him happy, so I fed in and took a 619 covered in piss. That happened.
I'm glad my feet was the only thing that touched you after that.
Right.
In Mexico for God, I don't know how long, but it's been very known that especially with foreigners, when either there's a tunnel, and as soon as you walk out that tunnel, or in this case, when you're walking back to the locker rooms after your match and you're about to go into the tunnel, the fans that are up on the top, that's when they pour the piss, and of course, they get you all the time.
I wish you told me before the match.
Yeah, just good old Mexican lucha libre vibe. That's all it is.
All right, so now let's fast forward, because you won the Royal Rumble. You're a world champion. You've done everything there is to do within WWE. Now I know you've had how many knee surgeries are you at this point?
I've had four major ones, and 4 more just arthroscopic.
Yeah, and so
a total of 8. Yeah.
So you leave WWE. Now you're wrestling guys like you said, like Will Ospreay, Ricochet, guys who were growing up watching you. And I always hate when I hear that, but it's true. It's like, oh yeah, you did. You really did. Damn it. But you see, I watched the Ospreay match, and you see the awe that this kid has, and he's doing some amazing stuff, and he's a trailblazer too. But you can just see, like, that's his Shangri-La. Like, he's sitting there watching you come down the way you were when you watched Taker come down, or
yeah, very true. Wow.
And that's the impact you've had, right? And so you've had this opportunity now. You're working all of these guys, and then I'm watching the Royal Rumble, and I hear the Booyaka, and I was like, fucking Ray. And you could tell the audience did the same thing, because there was like a second and a half of silence, and then it was like, no, is that right there? What? And then, the explosion. And then you come out looking like you're 14 again.
Not to mention the fact that you're like in the best shape I've ever seen you.
But that's what I'm saying. He comes out, 22. He comes out looking like he's 22 and bumping it all over the place and doing all the same stuff and looking crisp and looking like all of these things, again, with a new style outfit. So switching it up and everything. And I told Jay, how many guys do you think were lining up to feed Ray's comeback as he came in that ring?
That's crazy, because they try to keep it a secret, and I'm sure only the people that had to know knew about it. But it came down to a point where Hurricane and myself were in a bus. Next thing you know, we were told that we were okay to walk in there and put whatever we need to put together. So we walk in there probably maybe a good hour before the actual show started, and the Rumble was one of the first segments on the pay-per-view. So, some of the guys were able to catch a drift and say hi. Other guys, either were running around and didn't get a chance to see till I actually stepped in the ring. So it was, without a doubt, one of the best feelings that I've had in my career. Especially because you realize you've been gone for almost 3 years now.
Man, it goes fast, huh?
Yeah, it does. It does. You get it on social media constantly. Every time I post something, Ray, when are you coming back to WWE? So you hear it constantly, but you never really know what the reaction is going to be until you're actually there. And I was witness that there was an incredible reaction by the fans. They haven't forgotten about me. I definitely wanted for the fans to see something different, something retro, and at the same time, tried to take care of my nutrition. Been working out, which at the end of the day, it helps me out with, as I get older, not putting a lot of stress on my knees and just overall feeling good. And I think, when that call came in and I eventually showed up and I walked out, man, it was definitely breathtaking to just hear the ovation. My adrenaline didn't stop till probably I got back to my hotel room, which was in Jersey.
They put you in Jersey so nobody would see you.
Yeah, it was incredible.
So, where do you see you going? Do you see? I mean, don't spoil anything. I don't want you to do that. But do you what's next for you?
Man, I actually have. I've been staying as busy as I want to be, without overexposing myself and feeling burnt out. So right now it's just a matter of if there is an interest, which I really think there is on both ends, as much as from WWE and myself, to eventually go back and do some work with them. I would love to eventually sit down and see if we can come up with a game plan. You know, I don't see why that couldn't happen. So I'm up for it and looking forward to eventually being able to sit down and conversate about some potential work. With the company.
Well, it's one of those ones too where, you know, after your Rumble appearance, and we were talking about it, you know, it's one of those ones where don't fool yourself that every single guy in that locker room is like salivating, thinking, oh, I want to be the one to work Rey Mysterio. You know, like that's the kind of, you know, it's a whole fresh round of opponents there, which would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was the first thing that I took in consideration. AJ being one of them,
Sure.
Definitely on the big stage. I would love to eventually go at it with AJ. Finn Balor. I would love to be able to step in the ring with him and then go at it. You know, I'm a big fan, and I say this with all respect. I'm a big fan of Ricochet, and I know he just got signed. But when I had a chance to work him for the first time in Underground, and I really didn't know his story on how myself, The Rock, and Eddie were one of his three big inspirations to be a part of this business. When I had the match with him, which was one of the most incredible matches that I've had after leaving WWE, he spoke straight and direct to me, man. He goes, man, you know, you've been one of my idols, and you know, I've looked up to you since I can remember. You know, you are why I'm here doing this now. And now that he got signed with WWE, he is a multi-talented dude, man. He is, if not, I consider to be one of the best out there right now. Just because, and we were talking about this earlier, Edge, how you would try to practice the moves that you saw Psychosis and I do back in AAA. And, you know, at least if you couldn't do them, you would try to base for him.
Yeah.
You know, so either take the offense or the defense. Ricochet is one of those guys that is good at both, and it's very hard to see that type of talent that can do all the cool flippy doodle stuff and know how to position to take the offense.
Yeah.
So again, he surprised me very much when I was able to work with him. And I had a chance to work with him 2 or 3 times. And every time we stepped in the ring, you know, it was always magic every single time.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see his career move forward with WWE, because I know he has a big future ahead of him.
And man, there's a whole list of guys. I mean, the guys you just mentioned, but I would love to see you in Reigns, because you would. I know the kind of match that you would put together with him. You know, Rollins. You know who I would really love to see you with is Nakamura. Because those different styles and just those different personas, I mean, that would be some cool stuff.
Even a guy like Braun Strowman, who's like, you know, he moves so well too for a big guy. I mean, that would be pretty insane match too, I would imagine. But in your travels over the last few years, Ray, and you just mentioned Ricochet being one. Who are some other guys that stood out to you, guys or girls that stood out to you when you were on your travels that you think would that are going to have some big futures?
Definitely, and I know we spoke about Will Ospreay, and I know he's with New Japan right now, but I definitely think that they're just on another level, man. Like I sit back and watch wrestling now and how it's evolved, especially the high flying style, and there's just no way, you know, in a million years that I could even try to pull out one of the moves that they're doing now. You know, with they're adding now. I mean, back then it was just one flip. Now it's 2 flips, 3 flips. You know, with 3 corkscrews in the air. You know, it's just amazing, man. I'm amazed by how it's evolved and how it's going to keep evolving. So I can't even imagine what it's going to look like 5-10 years from now. But another one of the of the future talent that he's been working for Mexico for quite some time is Fenix, Rey Fenix.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Pentagon are brothers, and both of them are incredible. Obviously, Pentagon is got more of the heelish style of wrestling, but Fenix, when I see Fenix, for some reason there's something there that reflects on how I was and how I grew up in the sport. He's very creative with his style, and he's very unique, man, with what he does. So I think there's a big future ahead of him as well.
Man, you just got me thinking about NXT too. Like you and Johnny Gargano, you and Cien Almas. I mean, man, there's a lot of matchups out there for you, dude. That would be really, really fun to watch. Man,
I'm excited to be able to sit down and come up with a game plan, and hopefully that can happen. And then, of course, I would love to get a list and see, okay, who's first. You know, I think that's very important with the direction of where WWE is going. You know, giving the fans what they want to see.
Yeah.
And you know, if the fans want to see Rey Mysterio versus AJ or versus Rollins or you name it, you know, give them what they want to see. That way they can see it and have passion, you know, and you know very well that when you have the fans enjoying the match, that just gives you even more energy, more stamina to do better. It always has.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, man, we don't want to keep you any longer. I know you got stuff to do. I, as still a fan of watching, I got my fingers crossed and hope to see you back and see that whole list of people that we just talked about and see you work them. And also just, I want to be there the night that I find out it's your last match and just see you go out in the place you need to go out and then be there for the Hall of Fame induction, man. Cause, it's all well deserved. You're going to do run in last match?
Get you back for that dive off the cage.
This time, instead of going forward, I go backwards. Yeah.
And see, I told you, Dom knew that he's a dick. Man. He sensed it.
Yes. Yeah. I'll tell you, that's my future plan on retirement. I would definitely love to prepare my son in order for him to eventually step into the big stage, you know, and I'm doing exactly what you guys were doing at the beginning of your careers, you know, and what I did, picking up from different styles, not just one particular style. You know, I'm going to have him train as much as I can in different countries. Right now he's training with Jay. I want to get him out with Lance in Calgary. Is he in Calgary?
Yep.
You know, and eventually if I can get him to Japan and to Europe, you know, and the final touch would be the Mexican side. That's when I get a hold of him and we do one-on-ones. So eventually when it's time to tap out and to hang up the mask, would love to leave him set so he can take over the name and the brand and, you know, take it to the next level.
Yeah. How's your little girl doing? She good?
Little.
She's doing awesome. Yeah, man, not that little anymore.
I know. I always remember as little low.
She just walked in the room right now with her, what do you call it? The wardrobe for jiu-jitsu.
The gi.
The gi, yes, the gi. She's going to the jiu-jitsu class right now. She's been taking jiu-jitsu and
that's awesome.
Man, she loves it. And I love that she likes it. I wanted her to do something physical. She's always been ballet, dance, piano. You know, now it's very physical. And as she gets older, I mean, she's not because she's my daughter, but she's very beautiful. So I want her to be able to defend herself if that came to a decision, you know.
Sure.
So she took me down the other day and put some pressure on my like in between my chest.
You were going.
I exactly did that. not intentionally. She made me do it. She forced me to go, oh! I was like, wow. Really? She goes, Dad, I was taking it easy. I said, no, you weren't. That hurt. She's doing a great job. I'm proud of her.
All right, buddy. Well, we appreciate your time, man, and our best to you and your family. You guys are amazing.
Yeah,
so good to talk.
And give the best to the family. I think the last time I saw them, I was bleeding after all over the bed sheets in your guest bedroom after getting my last tattoo. So,
yes.
Sorry,
yes.
Angie.
I will. No worries. And just before I forget, I spoke to Jesse from Roots of Fight, and he told me to tell you hi. He said,
nice.
Let Edge. Yes, we're actually going to be doing some work together. So they're coming out with the Rey Mysterio Roots of Wrestling, and that's going to be coming out before WrestleMania, man. So I'm really excited for that. Really stoked.
Nice. I just ordered my. I'm old school. I actually went on the website and ordered instead of expecting it for free. I went and got an Evander Holyfield sleeveless hoodie. I had to. I was like, no, I'm getting it.
I'm actually gonna tell Jesse that, and he's gonna be upset. Watch. I'm gonna say, well, you know, Ed had to order it. You're gonna get a box full of stuff now. Watch. Especially with that Rey Mysterio T-shirt that's coming in. So once it comes to both of you guys, you got to rock it.
Oh, dude, I'll rock that all over set.
I think you're gonna like the design.
Cool.
Really
if you're involved, I'll like it. You always had a good eye for that stuff.
Nah, thank you guys. Thank you, man.
All right, Ray.
You guys be safe. I hope your families are well as well.
Yeah.
And
good, man.
I'm sure I will run into both of you soon.
Yeah.
We'll see you, man.
All right, buddy.
All right. Take care. Thank you for having me on.
Love you,
buddy. Love you guys too.
Love you, man.
So Birdman, Ray and I have always made a point of, at the end of every conversation, say, love you. You know, that's just what we do. You know, we've been up and down a lot of roads together, been in a lot of tag team matches together. We've worked each other a lot, a lot of history there. Yeah. What I really liked about that was the awkward gap after we said that, and you just, love you, man.
Yeah, well, we said love you guys. So, I figured I didn't want to say, it's a cool way of saying it, because I don't want to be like too overzealous and be like, as soon as he says, I love you too, Ray, because then it sounds like I'm reaching. Yeah. So you got to make it look like you're almost like sending a text and you halfway heard it and you're like, oh yeah, I love you, man. Like that cool guy. That's what it was.
Oh, like a text. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We can edit that out right now.
Overzealous. Females get jealous. Look at that young MC. What am I doing right now? Wow.
Bust the move. You want it. You got it. You got it.
How about Flea was in that video wearing, stuffed animal pants? Did you know that?
No, I didn't know. Yes, but I'm glad you told me.
I got a lot of this information up in my brain.
It was, but man, he was very generous with his time. Almost an hour and a half conversation there with Ray. Obviously, one of the biggest superstars in the history of the business, a guy that like we talked about, changed the game and has influenced so many guys and girls that you see today, and their styles and adapting it in different ways, the same way that he did, and looking to make their mark the same way that Ray did. So, and even beyond that, a better guy, just one of the super nice guys in the business. So just a guy that I've maintained a friendship with after the fact, and not that you're not friends with everybody else, but Ray is a guy that I stay in contact with and make sure of that. And and as I said, anytime I would get tattoos, I'd always go to Ray's Tattooed Guy, and I'd sit there and I'd go to their guest room and bleed all over their nice clean white sheets. Yeah, because I feel like you should go back there and get like my handprint tattooed on your ass where I slap you.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
You are so creepy. You are like a weird, creepy, perverted Eddie Haskell from Leave It to Beaver, and that's a really dated reference. But that sums you up.
If you want to put a label on it.
When Austin called you a creepy little bastard, it really, really fit.
Well, on that note, we should probably wrap it up, huh?
All right. Yeah. All right. Oh, by the way, next week, probably be another one of my gets.
What? unless I get one first.
Oh, that's true. Ooh, okay.
But this you can't take full credit for Ray, because when I saw Ray in Rhode Island at the Comic-Con in November, I was like, hey man, you need to come on the pod, and he was like, yeah, just call me, let me know.
Yeah, but yet you didn't.
Well, because I wanted to wait for the right time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I mentioned to you this week, like, hey, we should get Ray on this week. You went, yeah, okay, I'll text him. And now you're trying to take full credit for it.
Well, because let's face it, hey, Raven, yeah, and then it happens. You,
Also, he's talking about his T-shirts. We should talk about our T-shirts, right?
Oh yeah,
on, Pro Wrestling Tees. What is it? // What is it, man? What's our little address there for our T-shirts?
I think it's prowrestlingtees.com/ENC Pod.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And if it's not, you got to Google it.
Yeah.
But they're selling like hotcakes. You got to get on there.
I heard that Paul Smackett shirt's going fast. Oh, you better get your hands on it.
They're smelling like hotcakes. That means New Day will be wearing them.
I didn't say smelling. I said selling like hotcakes.
That's what I said too, didn't I?
You
sell them like hotcakes. Well, I meant to say selling. Pancake. I'm tired. What can I say? I'm losing my brain. Okay. See you, hosers.
Here's the long and short of it. Buy a fucking shirt. Fucking marks. Now we're out of here.
Here we go.